New Year, hotheads. I'm Henry, and this is Blaze the Roof. I hope you have all your resolutions in order, and that way you can bail on them in a few days. Anyway, we're going to kick off this year with a hell of a sauce called Hellboy from Hellfire. And essentially, Lionsgate came to the sorceress and the chili master from Hellfire and asked them to come up with a sauce for the upcoming Hellboy movie starring David Harbour. Now, I forgot if it was 2018 or 2019, but nonetheless, they came up with a sauce and should be a pretty hot one. We'll see how it goes, right? But essentially, Hellfire is out of Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. We've already covered it, so we won't get too much into that, right? Let's look at the packaging, though. So as I mentioned, right, it's Hellboy, so you see the David Harbour version, I guess. I don't know if it's that distinguishable from the Ron Perlman one. Pretty sure Ron Perlman needs less makeup. Just probably gotta paint them red, right? I'm kidding. But anyway, again, it's a fiery motif. There's a lot of red and yellow in this, very bright. Actually, what's interesting about these, Hellfire usually has some, I don't want to say distorted print, but their pictures are usually not as crisp as this one, so I don't know if Lionsgate had something to do with it, but yeah, typically the labels aren't as clear as this is, so pretty interesting. And essentially, Hellfire Hellboy has spawned a new line of sauces under Hellfire, and so there's I think they're up to 4 sauces now. We're gonna stick with the original, and there's some even hotter sauces. A little bit about the ingredients now. The ingredients include Caribbean red habanero pepper mash, distilled vinegar, jolokia pepper mash, red 7-pot pepper mash, Trinidad scorpion mash, sun-dried tomatoes, garlic, sea salt, and cumin. So let's talk about cumin, also pronounced cumin. That's going to come into play later. Just bear with me. So anyway, it's made from the dried seeds of the Cuminum cinnamon group. It is also, so in the Middle Ages, it was also thought to keep lovers and chickens from running away. I hope those two were not one and the same. Very disturbing. That's probably why we have bestiality laws now, though. I'm looking at you, the South. Joking. Anyway, it was used to make, or it was used to pay taxes in the olden days as well. I guess back in the Middle Ages. And it's also the second most popular spice, right after black pepper. So the salt is a flavor enhancer and not a spice. So before anyone jumps down my throat, remember the distinction there. So it also promotes digestion and is also a good source of iron. All right, so before we get any further, let's hear from this week's sponsor. Cold weather season's upon us, and cider is one of the best things to warm you up. Sometimes, though, you want a little bit more spice than your typical cider. If this is the case, then Cumin Cider's for you. We conceived this cider when we accidentally used cumin instead of cinnamon. It was a life-changing explosion of flavor. We felt the need to disseminate our new creation to the rest of the world. So if you want to warm up your loved one's insides, Cumin Cider is the only way to go. Now for the moment of truth. So one thing I want to point out is this sauce has a lot of the same ingredients that Fiery Fool has, except for the fact that Fiery Fool had Reaper, and the second highest ingredient was scorpion pepper. This one has habanero instead, and the scorpion pepper is much lower, which should make it actually less than Fiery Fool, but who knows, right? I actually don't know how much this clocks in at. I was gonna make a joke and say it was 666,000, but that's just goofy. We're a professional show here, damn it. All right, so let's see what's this about. So this smells a lot like Fiery Fool, so I'm gonna kind of skip that. Woo, it's a lot. You just smell pepper. This is gonna be hot, but essentially, I mean, it smells, looks like Fiery Full. So, Jesus, yeah, as you can see, it's orangish red, lots of seeds. This should be really, really terrible. All right, well, cheers. Mm-mm. So as expected, it's actually not as hot as, well, it's okay, it's still building. So it's a very slow burn. Back of the tongue, now it's a little bit at the tip of the tongue. But with most of these, you're going to get it more in the back of the tongue. It's definitely a very tasty sauce. Again, with all the mashes. Mash is basically just the pepper, water, and salt. Or pepper and salt. Or the peppers and the salt. So obviously this is going to have a lot of flavor to it. But it's nowhere near as bad as Fiery Full or Fear This. Definitely a lot more tame. But it tastes very similar to Fiery Full. So if anything, like, I love Fiery Full as a sauce. This is like a lighter version of it. Still a heavyweight. Don't get me wrong. It's still pretty heavy. It's still a hard hitter, but it's not anywhere close to what Fiery Full was. I'm sweating a little bit here so you can see that. But it doesn't have me gasping for air or hurting that much. The burn's already subsiding. It's like I said, it's still a heavyweight, but it's like on the lower level. Definitely a lot tamer. So it's like a light version of Fiery Full, which again is probably my favorite, one of my favorite sauces. So this is awesome. Really recommend it. So if you've learned anything from me, Fiery Full, I would basically put on anything. It's great on pizza. It's great on beef dishes, chicken dishes, pork dishes, anything really. The only thing I would probably not put it on is, again, like pasta, because again the tomato sauce has a certain consistency to it. But I mean, you can't even, it's just, what you get with this is it's not very vinegary. It's the pepper and salt that you get. So you get the fruitiness of the pepper, the heat, and the salt. Not so much the vinegar. So very versatile sauce though. And again, could basically, I can use it on anything. Use your imagination, run wild with it. Again, not for the faint of heart, but again, it's not as bad as Fiery Full, so it's almost like a step up to it. Very excellent. So next week we'll be reviewing, it's not a hot sauce, it's more of a marinade, but it caught my eye. I've been looking for a sauce out of Louisiana, so this is why I chose this one. I could have gone with the traditional Louisiana sauce, but I said, let's go with this one. This one actually has a unique ingredient in it that I don't think I'm going to see in another hot sauce. Due to the fact that it's probably very sugary, I'm not going to probably do a whole spoonful of it because I don't want diabetes. So, but yeah, it's a tiger sauce. I found it at HEB, and I said, why not? I wanted to do New Orleans as a city anyway, and this is made there, so it takes out 2 birds with 1 stone, right? So anyway, thank you for stopping in. I'm Henry, and remember, spice up your life. Take care.